why very literal thinkers overthink test questions, and the process that helps you improve doing that. So for someone who has been identified or knows that they struggle with reading, they fall into probably the dyslexia traits bucket, or potentially are very literal and might have some autistic traits, this can be a very big challenge when it comes to test taking. I personally know that I have struggled with this, and it has been one of the reasons I failed so many tests. It's also something I'd never heard anybody really talk about. And so more people have to have this conversation about how challenging it can be if you are the type of person that tends to take things very literally. Like when people say things specifically, the words they use matter immensely, and you take it very literally for just as they have said what they have said. And the problem is when this happens during test taking, and you are dyslexic in particular, you are trying to translate the words, understand them, and now you've got this literal interpreter. So it's a twofold experience. And part of the reason this was really brought to my attention recently, I've been having more conversations about it, is I happen to be working with some clients that are studying for a firefighter exam, that are studying for a very important Air Force exam, and also someone studying to get in on their doctorate and go to school for that. And those are big tests. They're intense, and those test questions can be experienced very literally, and that can very much set you back. In particular, also, is the love of acronyms, which is a huge memory challenge. And regulations and compliance talk about dry learning for most people. Very dry learning, and again, high memory, high need for recall. And then when you're fighting with the question, that literalness, oh Lord, right? Like, it's just, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, that might be me, I don't have to go into any more detail. Let's get to the meat of this. I've got some ways to work with that. So first, I want to give a great example. Here was a test question that actually somebody had. According to 33 CFR 159, a padlock and chain is the only acceptable means for securing a C overboard valve of a type 3 MSD. Can everybody see that there were multiple things we're translating there? And it was a true false. Is that true false? A literal thinker may focus on padlock and chain, on the overboard valve. They might also the type 3 MSD. But actually, the most important part of that question is the word only. So when a question contains words like only, always, never, must, all, every, exclusively, and solely, little trick words there if you want to write them down on a cheat sheet, I highly recommend it, and or go over to my article about it. There's probably a link below if this is YouTube. Go check it out. Those words should immediately trigger caution, caution. And you should ask, is the test asking whether this is an acceptable method or the only acceptable method? These are completely different questions, and that helps you answer the bigger true-falseness of that. There is a 5-step question breakdown process. And yes, I had to put it down below, and I'm kind of reading it real quickly, so I want to be accurate for you. You matter to me. That 5-step process. Step 1, find the action word. So circle or underline a word such as only, best, most, least, first, last, primary, required, acceptable, not. These words often determine the answer. So in our example, the word only in the test is really asking, are there any other acceptable methods? Maybe that's an easier question to answer. Okay, so that was step 1. Step 2, translate the darn question into plain English. Before answering, restate the question. A padlock and chain is the only acceptable means. Is a padlock and chain the one and only method allowed? Many dyslexic learners gain accuracy when they force themselves to reword the question. all of a sudden you can hear it and be like, well, no, that doesn't make sense. So step 2. Step 3, identify what is being tested. Ask what regulation or concept is the examiner actually checking. They're not checking about the valve, but the method of securing that discharge valve. This keeps the brain from chasing irrelevant details. And then look for the absolutes. Treat absolute words, we went over those before, that's number 4, as warning signs. Words that frequently make statements false. Only, always, never, all, every. Key hints there. And then step 5, ask the opposite question. Instead of, is this true? Ask, could there be another acceptable method? This often reveals the trap. A great acronym to remember that's really easy. Think of a red stop sign, S.T.O.P, stop. That's a great way, before you take a test, that is a great way to slow that literal thinker brain down just for a second. And, by the way, that's S is slow down. Then T is target the keywords. And O is own the words. So if possible and you have time, restate the question in plain English. And P is prove it. Ask, what exact regulation? And that will help you answer those questions even easier, which makes it so being the type of person, now that you understand, this is a testing thing that happens, being very literal about reading the test questions. Once you know this, you can now plan for that. You can, when you're doing worksheets and so forth, that is the perfect time to practice these hints and move things into that plain English. Slow down a little bit. Watch for those keywords that are not assisting and not helping you. They can make the world of difference with this. I'll probably be making some more videos and articles about this because I think it is really, really important that we talk about the fact that sometimes people that are different thinkers can be very literal interpreters of the word, and that can get in the way of our growth and of our expansion and of passing tests and feeling confident in our skills. And so while our memory is also a factor in that test taking, this literalness, you need, if it is you need to look at it and you need to challenge it and try a variety of approaches. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was fun to share this with you. And I definitely hope that you use some of these strategies next time you are taking a test and advancing yourself in life. I am so excited for you to have a new tool to help to make that easier. Thank you so much. I'm Georgina, unconventional leadership coach, international neurodiversity coach, and a champion for you getting higher scores on your tests and not being so stressed out about it. Thank you. Bye now.